videos, he says that the fire...
Alright, so I just bought this Raspberry Pi 2. It's a quad core apparently. It supports Ubuntu, Linux, and Android. So that'll be very useful. So I'll be able to do some experiments with that. The main thing is definitely being able to run Ubuntu. I plan to use Ubuntu to run Wine, and then use Wine to run UGAR, because UGAR is a Windows program, not a Linux or a Android program. Ironically though, it does work on Windows XP, because that's like how it was originally designed. It was designed to run on Windows XP, but it could run on any form of Windows. For me, I haven't tried it on XP, but I've tried it, or did I? I think I did. I think I ran a virtual machine and tried it out in Windows XP just to confirm if it actually runs, and I think it did run. I think I also tried the whole Ubuntu thing with Wine and tried out the UEAR, and I think it did work. But I didn't do it with the original Raspberry Pi, because y'all should know I have the first Raspberry Pi, but it couldn't get it to do what I wanted to do. Plus, it had limitations. I do expect this is a Raspberry Pi 2, has much better hardware, so I expect it to be better. There's a Raspberry Pi 3, of course. Eventually, I will upgrade into that one eventually and try that one out. But I'm gonna go try out the Raspberry Pi 2, especially it's relatively cheap. I spent like $40-something on the original Raspberry Pi, and as you can see, this Raspberry Pi 2 is half that price, so that's pretty nice. And it took years, but it's finally here. And I ordered it. I know this is taking long. All I'm really doing is telling you that, I just ordered this, so I'll be able to use it to start putting together the prototype for the DSP, since I already had most of the pieces for it to experiment with. But still working on redesigning it, improving it, trying to make it more compact, thinner, cheaper. That's always the main goal, is cheaper. Cheaper to make, of course. That's what I'm trying to say. Cheaper to make, so that way it'll be cheaper to sell, of course, in the long run. But cheaper to make in the first place, and for it to operate and function is top priority. What else? Not much. Don't want to go into a story of the concept of the DSP. They got to this point. Most of the videos for the DSP is on the channel. I do have other projects that are similar. There's the DDS, the Dueling System. That's supposed to be the holographic version, so that's what that one is. It's supposed to be the holographic version, more based off of the original Duelist from the original Yu-Gi-Oh series. The DSP is the augmented version. That's supposed to be more of the Yu-Gi-Oh Zexo version, or Zeo. I prefer to say Zeo. Zexo, that just doesn't sound right. But anyway, and then there is obviously a more advanced version, solid state holograms. If I can get from regular holograms, first step is to be able to do holograms. The next step would be like solid state. That would be very advanced, because the idea is holograms that you can actually touch. You can touch the holograms, and holograms can physically touch other physical objects. But that's not something that's necessary. But if it's possible, then it's possible. That's just that. But I like focusing, on just practicality. All I ever wanted to do was just add an extra layer to the game. It's like there are technology that can be used, put together to create a Duelist. That was the whole original idea of the original Duelist. Like the first Duelist video I made was showcasing that, hey, look, some people, there's some tech, some stuff that allowed them to project into essentially thin air, but it wasn't thin air. It was actually um, water vapors. So they projected onto water vapors. Like, oh, okay, well, that's a start, because at least they have a concept. Now it's just a matter of improving on the concept. So then I was like, well, why, instead of projecting onto a, see, it's funny, now I'm going to the story, right? Instead of projecting onto water vapors, why not project onto light on light projection? If y'all remember, if y'all followed a lot of my videos, light on light projection, you know, so then you have a light screen, you know, it's just screen of light, just a whole bunch of light shining upwards in a vertical pattern, right? And then you project onto it, you know, horizontally towards it, and then you're using the first light screen to reflect and project, you know, to showcase, of course, the projection from the projector, and then those two things combined will give you a hologram. It won't be a three-dimensional hologram. It will be a two-dimensional hologram. I do have some concepts for a potential 3D hologram system. We'll see what happens with that. But step one is just to make the 2D version work, obviously. And I've seen on YouTube some other companies that have come through, you know, have progressed in being able to create holograms, you know, in 3 dimensions, but mainly be able to create holograms in the air. Now, some companies did it with gas, which again goes to the concept of you need something to project onto. That's where the water vapors from the first concept was, and then it evolved to, you know, being able to project onto gas. The next step after that would be to be able to project light on light. Somebody did achieve that, so that proved my concept of light on light projection with a dirty laser concept. Well, that's what I call it. Because the idea is that you're using one, you know, you're creating a light screen. So you have basically a system of lasers that's shooting up light, right, photons. But within the photons, there's dust particles, or some type of particle, whatever we could put in it. But essentially dust particle, right, as an example. Dust particles. Since there's like dust in the air that we breathe anyway, why not use lasers to move them and manipulate them in a way that they are in one spot and keep the dust particle in one spot. Then project onto the dust particle that's already in the air. You just want to keep them all in one spot so you can use them to project your you know, your projection through a basic projector. You know what I mean? It's not like the projector has to do anything extra. It's just a projector. You know, it's a photon, you know, or light-based, laser-based, right, which is photon projector. So a laser projector projecting onto other lasers that just so happen to have dust particles or some type of particle, something where it's floating within that light that can help reflect the laser light, you know, from the projector that's projecting the image. And so it's light on light projection or dirty laser projection, whichever way you want to call it. And that was the initial idea, right? Is to create that. And it's like, well, that seems plausible once you have the, you know, the stuff that can put that together, and that makes it, that's definitely the closest we'll have to holographic projection. Essentially, that to me, that I consider that true hologram, like the ability to project something into thin air, right? Because air has stuff in it. You know what I mean? Oxygen, obviously, right? Has oxygen molecules, and then there's dirt. You know, there's dust particle. If you look closely enough, especially when you look close to where a light bulb or something, you see all these little dust particles, literally dust, just floating around in the light. And it's like, well, what if we can manipulate that so we can use it to project stuff onto it? And that's how, you know, you'll be able to project hologram into, you know, into thin air, as it were. So that's true hologram, is the ability to project onto air, you know, dust particles, or if you can project onto air molecules themselves. That's very impressive right there, right? That's the next level stuff. If you can project onto oxygen, ooh, right? Like you can literally project onto air. So all you need is like a really good air conditioner in a building, in that area, or just be outside where a nice gust of wind, be able to project onto the wind. That'd be pretty cool, right? So we'll see how far that things in science goes. But for now, the fact that somebody was able to take two lasers, right, or a series of lasers, and be able to project laser or light on light injections, be able to connect the two lasers, make them cross each other at a certain point, at a certain time, to the point where they're visible, and then boom, there you go. Now you'll be able to create real quickly a 3D rendering of whatever you want to do, and there's 3D projection. So it's like, all right, well, my theory was correct. I was right with the idea, and when it comes to an idea, it's all about being able to prove it. It's everybody has ideas. It's all about being able to prove it, right? To make it practical. If you can make it, that's what matters the most. So it's like, well, yeah, I had the ideas for years. The thing is that I didn't have the right equipment, the time, mainly the money. It's not that I didn't have the time. I didn't have the money specifically to put towards experimenting and making it happen. Other people did have the time / money to work on it, so they proved me right. So that's what matters. So my concepts are right. I just haven't been able to put the money behind it like I want to. Now I can, so there's that. Which is the point of these videos. It's like, hey, I can, and as you can see, I just bought this. I've done videos like this before where, I showcase, hey, look what I bought for the project. Hey, look what I bought when I was able to. I gotta eat. I gotta live, right? I gotta pay for internet. I gotta pay for stuff. So stuff ain't free. So I just bought this, and it was nice because it was cheap, and hopefully it works out. That's the main thing. Like I already said, Ubuntu with wine, and that should help me run the UAR program. I still plan to pay somebody to redo the program, like to just, especially for a different platform, because like I said, I have many ideas, and it's about making it cost effective, but also to get the end result. The end result is that it works, right? So if I can make it where I can get somebody to create an Android version of it, because the operating system is not that big of a deal. I prefer Windows, because then that makes it make it a little bit easier for me to program it myself. But I don't have to do everything myself. I already did the best part, right, which was coming up with the idea. Now it's just a matter of making it a reality, and I could just pay other people to make the stuff that I need, Steve Jobs style, right? Just pay other people to produce certain aspects that I need. So again, the idea of doing Android, like if I can have the program done on Android, that'd be awesome. So being able to have an Android system that's small, easy to work with, I could pay somebody. Eventually, I would like to learn how to do this stuff myself, of course. But time and I got lots of projects to work on, so a lot of things to do. I got businesses that I've created that are bringing in money, so that's helping. Then I got this. I got a job, doing security. So, and since I don't do much, like at my job, security wise, it actually gives me free time. So the 8 hours, 8 or 9 hours that I'm working, like that I'm at work, well, I'm not really doing anything except being on my phone, and I have my laptop with me, and I have internet access, so it's like, well, I can use that time to do stuff. So right, so I have some online businesses, eBay, this, that, and third, right? Ways of making money, and then now I got this job, so that's just extra money. And I'm doing all types of stuff, investing my money into different things, and of course now I have a little bit of pocket money to do whatever I want with, and of course I decided to put it towards this project. It's already been 15 minutes that I've just been blabbing, and it's all about just the fact that I bought this small Raspberry Pi 2 motherboard with USB capabilities, HDMI capabilities, among other things that it can do. Of course, the idea is to add touchscreen, because the funny thing about the DSP, essentially it's a touchscreen PSP or a tablet or a smartphone, however way you want to look at it. That's essentially what I'm trying to do, or I've been trying to do for years, is essentially create a smartphone with card slots on the side, on the side of the casing of the smartphone, as it were, and then right, so you can slide in your cards, and that way you can hold your cards, be able to read your cards, either through the little numbers on the bottom of the cards, because every card has like a serial number, or actually be able to read the name of the card. So either by one of those two methods, or some other method, but mainly it'll probably be between those two methods. And then since the DSP, PSP, tablet, phone, smartphone, whatever you want to call it, concept, right? It'll be able to take that information, recognize it, and then display through glasses, because sometimes I forget to mention this, like, well, you're going to need glasses, you're going to need some way to see the augmented reality, like, see your cards, and then the monsters on top of your cards in front of you while you're, playing against an opponent, because the idea is to battle somebody else, right? And some people want some extra stuff. They want, like, the not Pokemon, they want the monsters to battle, to be able to do attacks and stuff, like, to be able to, they want them to be animated. So it's like, so you want it to be more, essentially more like a video game, because you want them to do stuff, not just exist, right? Not just appear on top of your cards and then that's it. That's all I ever wanted, was just them to appear on top of the cards. That way, it just looks cool that way, and it's just a way of illustrating the. That's why I always wanted to focus just on the monsters, never the spells and traps, because they don't matter. You use them, you get their effects. They go to graveyard, or if they're a continuous spell or trap, okay, they'll stay there, but they don't need to be made into no 3D model or anything of Swords and Revealing Light or something like that. No, just play the card. It'll be there. The effect will be there for you to use. This is more of aesthetic, but more people want, like, actual features, so they want, like, a full-on game, and it's like, okay, now y'all want more than than what I was trying to do. Can it be done over time? Yeah, it can be done over time. Because then, for me personally, what it seems like, it just becomes more of a virtual reality game. That's what essentially it becomes, more of a virtual reality, where the idea is, like, you get to, duel your opponent with, summoning Obelisk, and then Obelisk appears, and then Obelisk attacks your opponent's blue eyes, and you get to see Obelisk actually attacking, hitting blue eyes. Blue eyes gets defeated. Blue eyes reacts to the fact that he got defeated. Blue eyes disappears. Life points change, all that stuff, and it's just like the ability to be immersed into the game. And it's like, well, that's more VR than anything. I was just trying to make the game a little bit more interesting, that whether you play this game on a table, or you play this game while standing up, or sitting in a couch or something, or sitting in a park on the grass or something with your friends, and just have a little bit of fun and have this stuff, play with your cards, and then be able to add an extra layer to it, which is the 3D models, to make the game a little bit more fun, a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. Sorry, I'm a little sick. Was the whole point? It wasn't to make a virtual world, basically, where you're constantly battling with your augmented reality monsters. Because realistically, for all that, it would be better to create a virtual reality game that you could probably download onto your phone. Let's say you have some Oculus Rifts or something connected to your phone, and now you can play this augmented reality, tag Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro or Tag Force game or whatever you want to call it, right? And or Duel Links, whatever, and then battle your opponent, and then the 3D models will be there, and they'll be doing stuff, and your deck will be in the game already. You don't need your physical cards at all. You can just build your deck in the game, or however way the system works. So it's like, it just defeats the idea. All I'm trying to do is add a little bit of technology to the physical card game, because I want to support the physical card game more than a virtual game, because stuff like that already exists. Eventually we will have virtual reality will be more common, and then you'll have the ability to summon Obelisk and beat Blue Eyes with one punch in the near future using virtual reality. So we don't need to do this for that. Once that becomes a thing, you'll just need, like an Oculus Rift, some type of virtual reality glasses or headset that you put on, and then it will have connections to like Wi-Fi, and then you just get onto a web server, website like Duel Links or something similar to that, right? And then go log in, and then just play Yu-Gi-Oh! In a virtual setting. When you summon Dark Magician Girl, she pops up, she attacks, and she talks and all that stuff. That will already be a thing in the near future once, virtual reality becomes more of a thing. This was meant to be more of a simple concept. If you take away the hologram version was just to add to it. Basically, you play the card and then a hologram of Blue Eyes pop up. That's just cool. That's it. Nothing more than that. Doesn't have to move, doesn't have to make noise, doesn't have to do anything. It just has to appear after you put the card in. That's it. That's all I had to do. That's all I ever wanted it to do. Nothing more than that. Other people want more than that. That was the thing. People wanted more than that. It's like, okay, that's far, far in the future for that stuff to be added, because to me that's not necessary. That's just a want, not a need. We don't need them to do anything. We just needed them to appear. That way you'd be like, I summon Blue Eyes, and then Blue Eyes appears. That's all you ever need. You don't need no more than that. You just need Blue Eyes to appear once you play the card. Then you attack, do the basic stuff you do when you play the game, and then that's it. Basically, virtual action figures, or however way you want to look at it. That's essentially what it's supposed to be. You summon Obelisk, and there he is. He's a big figurine of Obelisk that you can, attack your opponent with. Won't do anything, but that's supposed to be the idea. But I have seen some people do some stuff, especially with Android, where they actually had, the characters move and do stuff. And I've seen other people do the HoloLens stuff. I definitely love that. I'm a fan of the HoloLens stuff, so they're doing great stuff over there. So you can find that on YouTube. I'll probably put the link in the description if I remember. I don't want to keep talking because I'll just be blabbing about years worth of stuff that I haven't yet done, or I was planning to do, but probably change and stuff, and it'd be pointless to keep talking about it when I could just do it, right? This should be the end of the video. 24 minutes. My bad.